أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين، وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. جزاكم الله خيرا for attending this Tarbiyah session. We couldn't be more happier and grateful to Dr. Isra that she takes from her time and the time of her patients to attend to our parents and to our school. Alhamdulillah. We appreciate that so much. And last session, if you remember, it was about bonding, right? And it was amazing. It's probably one of the best Tarbiyah sessions. We reached out to Dr. Isra and said, really like to make you the backbone of this program, inshallah. We call on you. And she's coming back in March, inshallah. She promises she'll be here in March as well, inshallah. February? We're already January, so I'm talking March already. I'm thinking we're in February. As a teacher, you're like, yeah, you're planning ahead. So in February, inshallah, she'll be with us. Today we should be talking about effective communication strategy, inshallah. That's something that we all need in our homes, in our life, especially with our youngsters. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make him the coolness of our eyes, to make him a good da'wah and a good righteous children. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Without further ado, inshallah, Doctor, start with us. This is just for the our parents on Zoom, inshallah. Can you hear us? Normal here, or do we need a mic?
All right, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the nice cool weather, temporary. Hopefully it'll get us through Ramadan, inshallah. Inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وقل ربي زدني علما. So I am again very delighted to be in the presence of my brothers and sisters. I love my patients. I love my office. But it's nice every now and then to join you and, to approach these topics from an educational perspective, inshallah. As you know, I always remind you before I start talking to renew your intention, correct? Because as long as your intention is pure, whatever you do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including our time here today, can be put, inshallah, on the side of your hasanat and your blessings, so long as you renew your intention and you remind yourself that you're here to grow, inshallah, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So take a moment to do that. Okay? I always also start by asking the audience why you think this topic is important. Effective communication. Why do you think this topic is important? Okay, and as you know, those of you who've attended my sessions, I'm very interactive, so I'm not asking rhetorical questions. Let me know, why do you think effective communication is an important topic, especially with our children, including our students? Yes. Inshallah, inshallah. Sometimes, our parents, subhanallah, may Allah have a lot of mercy on our parents, forgive them of their sins. They did the best they know how to do, right? But sometimes, subhanallah, there were things that they have missed, not because of any malice, but because of not understanding or not knowing, right? And so what we try to do, inshallah, is we try to break those generational mistakes so that we do differently, inshallah, with our own children. And if we do differently with them, then we assume that they're going to do better than us, inshallah, with their own children. Okay? Any other answers as to why this is an important topic? Yes, sister. Sure. Yes. Yes, absolutely. What the psychological term for that is distortion. Okay? Sometimes you may be looking a certain way, when you're talking to somebody, or you use a certain word or have a certain tone. And what happens is they misinterpret, right? And create their own conclusions. And then the whole discussion goes south, right? Okay, one more response. Why is this an important topic? For the teachers here, think about your students. Why is it important to know how to effectively communicate? Yes. Mhm. And can you be more specific? Give me an example. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So what you're talking about is clarity, right? So people are walking away with the message that is intended versus some distortion or misinterpretation of the information. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Brother Mamdouh, how much time do I have today?
All the time you need.
Okay. Usually it's still
9.
9:15, inshallah. Okay. So I have a lot to teach you today, inshallah. If I don't have time for questions and answers, I may be able to stay for a few moments afterwards, and we'll see how we're going to do with time, inshallah. So in terms of using effective communication, what we're going to start with is I need you to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you many, many gifts. Okay? And amongst these many gifts that he has given you is your body. And we can actually learn how to use our bodies in a more effective way to communicate better, right? We can use our bodies as a vessel for better communication. The specific strategies for how you can do that, I want to emphasize 2 points. The first point is consistency. Why is consistency in effective communication important? Yes. They know that move or use moves and consistently reinforce them. Yes. Very good. Very good. So it's kind of like, so they know what to expect. Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So I think what you're referring to is predictability, right? Our children need to have 100% ability and predictability in terms of how we're going to respond. Okay? If I say a bad word today, it's going to be handled in the same way that it's going to be handled tomorrow. Okay? Predictability shapes habit, and predictability shapes behavior. Okay? If it's on and off, they're going to get confused. Very good. Okay? There's no worse way to shape, ineffective behavior than by not being consistent. Okay? Consistency shapes effective behavior. The other part of consistency is I'm stressing it for you. Okay? For you. How is consistency going to help you as educators and as parents? I'm thinking of one specific response. Yes. Yes. Yep. Routine. The other part of it, subhanAllah, as human beings, when we reflect back on experiences, when we make judgments about people, we always tend to kind of have a bigger picture approach to that person, right? So if you as a mom and dad are consistent in how you are communicating with your children, okay, consistently, effectively communicating with your children, then guess what? It leaves you that space, right, to sometimes make mistakes because you're not perfect. And when your child looks back and remembers you, what are they going to remember? The bigger picture of how you dealt with them, right? They're not going to remember, well, this day she said it this way, and that day she said it this way. And they're going to reflect back and say, my mom was, right? A general picture. Or my father talked to me in this way, a general picture. So you don't have to be perfect, okay? But try to be as consistent as possible, because that creates the overall picture and impression that the child has. Does that make sense? You make mistakes, it's okay, because you know that plenty of other times you did it well. And that's what will stick with the child. Okay? Any questions so far? The other piece that I want to mention to you before we start talking about strategies is quality versus quantity. Do you remember the study that we talked about last time in terms of, on average, how many minutes parents spend with their children a day? How much? 10. I was pushing for 11. Right? Okay. Yes. So think about it. That 10 minutes you could use to have an effective conversation with your student or your child, right? That could be one opportunity. Quality over quantity. Okay, the quality of your communication is more important than talking to them often and sometimes being effective and sometimes being non-effective. Okay, so let's start off, inshallah, by talking about the different strategies of effective communication. In doing that, I want you all to stop for a moment, clear your minds, and remember last time that you confided in somebody in your life. Could be a spouse, a friend, a doctor, okay? Just remember the last time that you spoke to somebody important in your life about something that was very, very serious, okay? Everybody have something in mind? Yes? You guys don't communicate to other people? All right, so just remember that for a second, okay? And I want you to raise your hand. I don't want any divulging of personal information, but let me know, raise your hand if you felt that that interaction was effective and helpful. Raise your hand. I don't want to know about it, just raise your hand. Okay. Raise your hand if that interaction was not helpful. Okay. Okay, so some here, some there. Some people don't have any interactions, evidently. Okay, so what I want you, keep a note to yourself. For those people that said it was a positive interaction, I want you to think about, and if you want to self-report, that would be great. What made it positive? Okay, you got to be more specific.
Like if I'm worried about something
Sure.
specifically that day will happen in my day,
Yeah.
I usually talk about
Sure.
when I share with somebody my worry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel more calm.
Mm.
It doesn't matter if she gives me a solution to that problem or not. But if I let it out,
Yeah.
I feel much better.
Sure. I'm guessing she's giving you some emotional space to be able to let it out. Okay, so that's what she was offering you. Any other responses? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Mhm. Very good. Very good. Okay. Of course. MashaAllah. He's doing an amazing job. MashaAllah. So what she's talking about, she's bringing up two important things. Okay. The first thing is that, do you all understand when someone is coming to talk to you that this is a privilege? It's an honor. It's a privilege, right? And it's an amana in your hand. Because the person coming to talk to you is in a place of vulnerability. So don't take them coming to you, don't, what's the word that I want to use? Don't for granted. Okay? In coming to you, they are basically saying, you are someone that I am choosing to share something important with. And that's an honor, and that's an amana and a trust. Okay? So you have to deal with it in a very wise way. And what her brother is doing, mashallah, sounds very emotionally intelligent, okay, is he is giving her free space, emotional space, right? Where he's not judging her, he's not criticizing her, he's almost making her feel welcome, right? When someone is coming to you, they're coming to you sometimes for good, but sometimes because they're in a different situation, right? And what you do and what you say can potentially disarm them and give them relief, or it can do what? Shut them down or make it worse. Okay? You'll be held accountable for that in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so take it very, very seriously. So let's get started. Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about, inshallah, are the nonverbal ways to communicate. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to first ask yourself, do you know what you look like and what you sound like when someone is talking to you? Have you tried to tape yourself? It's a really interesting exercise. Really? Really, I mean, it sounds funny, but it's true. Sometimes, when you have nothing else to do, right? All of us have nothing else to do sometimes. Just tape yourself talking and see how you sound. Okay, or stand in front of a mirror and talk. See how you look and what kind of messages you're communicating. Okay? First thing I want to talk to you about when it comes to the nonverbals is eye contact. Okay? Eye contact. If someone is coming to you, a child is coming to you as a student or as your own child, okay? Eye contact is incredibly important. That's where it all starts, okay? With eye contact, you're either going to engage them or you're going to turn them off. Why is eye contact so incredibly powerful and important? Yes. Okay. Yes. Good. Very good. So it's a cue to you that they're paying attention. Okay. But what about for them? Why is seeing your eyes important to them? What does it do for them? Yeah, sure. That they're the center of your attention, right? And isn't there something that says the eyes are the something to the soul, right? Really, oftentimes, people we're speaking to can pick up on our emotions, right, through our eyes. SubhanAllah. Okay? Use your eyes to communicate what you want to communicate to this child, be it compassion or empathy or care or what have you. Okay? So eye contact is important. Do not be on your phone as you are talking to your child. Okay? How many times have I heard children tell me, Baba doesn't care because he's always on his phone when I'm talking to him. So I don't go and talk to Baba anymore. I go talk to Mama. And she puts the phone down. Okay? When someone is trying to engage you, they're doing a reach. They're doing an emotional reach, right? And they would like to have a hand reaching back, so to speak. They don't want to be ignored. They don't want to feel like they're not important. So eye contact is important. Now, as Muslims, we're always taught to be moderate, right? So the same with eye contact, right? If you are just like fixated, right? What does that do? Makes somebody uncomfortable. Yeah, right? Just like seeing through them, right? So every now and then you might want to look away and what have you, but maintain appropriate eye contact. Okay? The second thing that I want to talk to you about is tone. Your tone. Because no matter what words you use, tone makes a difference. Correct? Okay. I want you to think about the tone as a way to de-escalate someone. Right? Personality disorders. And then they come into the office and they're yelling and they're pounding on the wall and all sorts of words. And what I do is I maintain my voice. Okay? I keep it steady and I keep it low and soft. And without me even telling them to lower their voice, what happens unconsciously? They lower their voice because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to like equilibrium and balance. You have someone shouting and someone calm. This person's either going to go up or this person is going to go down. So if you're smart, you maintain your stance and they're going to feel foolish. They're yelling and you're just sitting there all calm and they keep yelling and you're all calm. At some point, they're going to feel like, okay, I need to take it down. Okay, so maintain your tone. Posture. What do I mean by posture? Okay. Okay. So I want you to try right now yourselves. Let's do this little exercise in your own chair. Okay. I want you to either kind of hunch back like this or just go forward. Okay, do it, and see how it feels. Okay, you're either just like this. Okay, do it and see how that feels. Okay? Doesn't feel good. Why not?
Well, it's not a to sit like
Yes, and if you're not comfortable, are you going to be hearing what anybody else is saying? Okay, I just want to show you what I mean. Okay, so if you're in the chair and somebody's talking to you, okay, and you're doing this thing, you're not taking them seriously, okay? But psychologically for yourself, this is saying what? It's not important, or I'm kind of taking like a dismissive kind of position, right? I'm cowering back, okay? Now, what I want you to do is to sit up, lift your spine, put both feet on the floor, uncross your legs, okay? How does this feel? I'm in control, right? So you're automatically giving yourself confidence, whomever you're talking with, the boss, an unruly child, a difficult spouse, from here to here, and see how your brain starts to shift, okay? Do not cross your hands when someone is talking to you. What you're saying is, you scare me and I'm defending myself, right? So up, lift your spine, take deep breaths, feet on the ground, relaxed. That's going to communicate to them, hey, I'm here with you, but it's also going to communicate to yourself that this doesn't scare me. I'm in control. I'm in control of my environment. Okay, so watch your posture. The other piece that I want to talk to you about is in the name of equilibrium and synchrony. Don't talk to someone and be over them. Okay? Why not? It's intimidating. For real. It's intimidating, especially if the kid has anxiety or they're scared of something and you're like towering over them. It's very scary. By the same token, okay, if you're sitting down and your kid is standing up, is that a good idea? Why? Because now it creates a power differential. Okay? You're either going to talk standing up or both sitting down. Okay? All right. I want to talk to you now, inshallah, moving over now to the verbal section. Okay? The verbal section is very, very important. When someone is upset, when you have a child who's all in emotion and they're very upset, you will not be able to logic with them. You have to deal with their emotions first. When someone is angry, when someone is sad, when someone is frustrated, trying to give them advice will not work. It's going to make them even more angry and frustrated, because then it's going to be, you're not hearing me. You're not listening to me. Okay? So how do we disarm children verbally? The first way you can do it is called a reflection. Okay? A reflection is when basically you focus on the emotion that the child is trying to communicate. Okay? So saying something like, wow, it sounds like you were very frustrated today. Or it sounds like you were sad today. Or it seems like that test made you feel very, very nervous. You focus on repeating back the emotion, whether they say it or they don't say it. Okay? If they say, Mama, today I had, one of my friends made me feel sad. Oh, okay, so it sounds like you were feeling hurt. If they use the word, reflect it back maybe with a different word. If they don't use the word, anticipate in what they're telling you, reflect the emotion. Sounds like you were feeling upset today, right? Now put yourself in that situation. If you are mad, you came in talking to me, and I look at you and I say, wow, you seem really upset. What does that do? What is the impact? Feeling? Sure. Okay, what else? What is the resonance? Okay, sure, yeah. If someone sees you, if someone says, oh my God, you seem really, really upset today, doesn't it make you want to say yes? Right? It's a quick opening. It's a quick opening. The best way you can open somebody up is to reflect on their feeling. You seem down. What's going on? Watch them say, oh, let me tell you what happened. Right? So reflect on the emotion. Okay? Another way to make someone feel understood is by what we call paraphrasing. It's like summarizing. Okay? Paraphrasing is basically saying, so you said this happened first, and then this happened next, and then that happened, and then this happened. It doesn't really deal with emotion. You're reflecting back on content. Okay? How does that help somebody when you do that? It makes them feel you're listening. It makes them feel understood, right? And notice you're using details. You're not, oh, you just had a bad day today and then you just came home. It's like you weren't listening to me, right? You're offering details. Okay. Another way is by probing. What do I mean by probing? Asking questions. Okay. Why do you ask questions? Even though you might know the answer, how is it helpful to ask somebody questions? Good. And asking questions actually insinuates interest and curiosity and wanting to know more. Okay? So reflection means repeating back the emotion. It seems like you're feeling upset today. Okay? Paraphrasing is summarizing what they said. Probing is asking questions, more detailed questions to let them know that you're interested and you're curious. Okay? Sometimes it's helpful to repeat statements you make. Okay? Let me give you an example. Have you ever, when you were reading the Quran, read a verse? Okay? And then you read it again. And then you read it again. And then you read it again. And again and again and again. What happened? It went from here to here. Repetition, subhanAllah, specific ayahs in the Quran. I mean, any ayahs in the Quran, but for me, there are specific ones. I say them the first time, okay, but I repeat, and then I feel it from here. Okay? So, for example, if you need to say you're sorry to something that you did unintentionally to your child or to your student, sometimes you say, I'm sorry. And then you can say, I'm really, really sorry. You want to repeat it a third time. Okay? Because with every repetition, you're going further and further and further into the heart. And it resonates more and more and more with the other person. Okay? So repetition. The last part I want to talk about, the verbal section, is the yes brain. I think most of us have the no brain. Mama, can I? No. Baba, can I? No. No, no, no. Right? There's actually a book that was written by a famous neuropsychiatrist. You can just Google it. It's called The Yes Brain. And he talks about how important it is as parents that we learn to develop a yes brain. Not yes to everything, of course, but then not no to everything either. Okay? And so sometimes one of the things that you need to think about when you're sitting and having communication with your child is that yes brain. Ask yourself, he's asking me to do something. My automatic instinct is no. Well, why can't it be yes? Start challenging yourself. Why can't it be yes? A lot of times when you do that, you find that the reasons for saying no are irrational, or it's about control. I just don't feel like it. And I said so because I'm your mother. Well, why not? Right? So sometimes when you're communicating with your children, if you have a request that is being made, ask yourself, instead of asking yourself why I should say no, ask yourself why I should say yes. Because what that does is it creates a sense of flexibility, right? Because I've seen in many situations in families, and some of you might snicker and smile, one parent is always saying no. And so then the kids get conditioned to go to the other parent. Then the other parent gets tired because they feel like you're always coming to me, right? And then it creates problems between the husband and wife. I said no, I said yes. Well, you have to side by me, but you're wrong. I mean, it's just, right? So good count, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So try to think of it more in terms of, is this a potential for me to say yes? Of course, if it's something inappropriate, haram, of course. But I'm talking about all the other things, okay, that we could be saying yes to. Okay, the last thing I want to mention to you, inshallah, is that if you try all of these wonderful ideas and they don't work, okay, keep trying. Consistency is important. It's not going to work, you do it one time. If you've had a specific communication style with your children for all their life, and you come and Dr. Isra said it to do it this way today, and then you try and it doesn't work, it's not because it's ineffective. It's because there's so many layers and so many years that logically you should give yourself, if your kid is 10, you should logically give yourself 10 years to undo it, but inshallah, it won't be that long. Okay? So you have to be reasonable with your expectations. Having said that, if it's way beyond your control, because there are times when there are significant emotional or psychiatric issues in children, and the parent is not able to contain it themselves, there's always family therapy, right? Where you come in with your child, you sit down with a doctor, a psychologist, and they can kind of show you and create a different dynamic between you and your child as things are happening in the therapy room. Okay? So consider that. There is family therapy if you're not able to address these issues fully with your children or with your students, inshallah. Okay? So I have 5 minutes. Okay, do you have any questions or concerns? Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I feel like there's a bias each every moment. So how do you overcome that? From that listener? Very good.
Okay. Did everybody hear the question? Can you raise your voice?
Talking about teenagers. Listen to it. Might be saying things that are shocking.
Sure. So it requires a lot of internal work, and inshallah, for the next time when I'm coming in, I'm going to focus on you and teach you how to disarm yourself as you are communicating with someone. Okay. But the quick response to that is if you're in a conversation with your child, okay, and they're clearly emotional, or they have a lot of things going on, okay, what I tell parents to do is to disarm them first, right? Use all these beautiful strategies, disarm them first, find a connection with them, okay? And then when we're done with that process, you can come back and say, Habibi or Habibti, I need help now dealing with some things I'm struggling with. So when can we find time to talk about my concerns? Okay? We don't have to ignore our concerns as parents and our feelings, okay, and just make it about the kid and their emotion. Our feelings and our thoughts and concerns are valid. We're human too, not just our children, okay? But the problem that happens between a parent and child is the child is in need of some kind of emotional support, and all parents unintentionally spin it and make it about us and take this opportunity to create some kind of lesson. Both are good. They don't have to happen in the same time, because then there's going to be a choice of who gets their needs met, me or you. There should be two winners, right? So you address the child's emotional needs, you disarm them, you make them feel understood, you make them feel supported, and then you say, can we tomorrow talk about some concerns that I'm having? Then it'll be your turn. Does that make sense? Okay, any other questions, inshallah? Iman. Yeah.
Battle with the are they living and you're trying to represent both your beliefs, the vision, and it makes it hard. It makes the parent themselves battling to try to balance. The balance is always hard. Balance the way. Okay, I want to try to understand them as not how I was brought or how
Sure.
I feel. It's just a whole big battle inside the family.
Yes.
It's harder on us.
It's hard on us. It's hard on them. Okay, imagine what they have to go through these days. But what I'm trying to point out is if you establish a strong and healthy relationship with your children, it gets easier to do that. It always goes back to the rapport and to the relationship, right? If that is strong, if the communication is strong, then you'll fare through these journeys with your children in an easier way. Everybody's going to be tested raising their children, especially in this country and with what's out there. Nobody will be protected from that. But if you're smart, you're the kind of parent that will take time to build that rapport and trust with your children and that place of safety, and it will help them, it will carry them through, inshallah, to the other side with minor, problems, inshallah. Okay, any other questions? Yes. Mhm. How old is the child? So the question I have for you, it seems like, mashallah, your strength would probably be in discipline, right? And kind of reminding them that they're not supposed to be acting out this way, having certain expectations of them is what I'm hearing from you. How are you doing on the other side? With nurture and sure.
It's like they forget.
Right. So what I mean by that, how much time are you spending physically with them? Not in instances where there has to be some kind of disciplinary action or talking to them about their behavior. Do you spend time having fun with them, just holding them, reading books with them, playing with them, dancing with them? Do you do all that? So when children act out, they're trying to communicate something. Oftentimes it's frustration. Oftentimes it's anger. Okay. So does your child have a good verbal ability? Then you may want to just sit down, and I used a similar example last time to say, when you do that, what are you trying to tell me? Or can you draw a picture? When you're stomping, what is that stomping or screaming trying to tell me? Can you draw a picture for me? And use that as an open conversation. Okay? Inshallah, you're welcome. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Because I see my students throughout the whole day, but then mine were all of us. Well, they were how
Yeah.
the last okay. So like how do I maintain that at that last hour?
Why is that last hour so problematic? What's happening?
Because I can find patience throughout the whole day. Trying to
Mhm.
so by the end of the day I have to break.
Okay. And so what's happening as you're wanting a break? Are they trying to go to sleep or?
They're trying to sometimes they get distracted and they're little.
Of course. Yeah.
And one wants to someone wants to work together or someone has to other that kind of stuff.
Do you have a husband who can help you? Okay. 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 Yeah. I mean, you're human. You have, your threshold of tolerance, right? So there are going to be times when you just can't do it. You know you should, but every part of your body saying no. And so you have to have someone on the other side to support. So those days you may want to hand over the care for your children. If he's not able to help you in general on a consistent basis, then what you need to do is you need to, throughout the day, have timeouts for yourself. No, that's not a timeout. No. Timeout, I mean like locking yourself up in a dark room with a cup of coffee. Sure. Or when you're keeping them busy during the day, right? You put them like on videos or you get them to color or do something. Take that time for yourself instead of going to the kitchen and starting to cook something. Okay? Go for a walk if you can. Go for a walk with them if that's possible. When you're entertaining them during the day, if they're being entertained by something, an activity or a cartoon or whatever, take something to do for yourself. Okay? Because it's like a car. You have to every now and then stop at the gas station and refuel, or you're going to collapse on the road and not make it. Right? So more frequent breaks for yourself, and also handing them over to someone else who can help you. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
So about like listening to them when they come home with problems.
Yeah.
I have one that come home every day with problems. Like every day, he's like, oh, he snatched the ball from me, so I screamed, and then he pushed me, and I pushed him back. The teacher didn't listen to me, or he said this to me first, and when I said that back to him, the teacher changed my color, or he's always trying to blame someone else's problem. So if I feel like if I keep listening to him every day, oh, what's happening, Baba? Why is that? Is that not like try to be nice to him? I feel like if I don't yell at him and make him feel that I'm mad and I'm not happy about what he's doing, he keeps doing. Taking it as my mom taking care about it, or my mom, she's okay with it.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, that's a good question. You don't want to, in the name of trying to support your child, you don't want to enable them. Especially if it's bad behavior, that's a good question. So again, what you're trying to do is you're trying to disarm him emotionally, so that when you try to give him advice or tell him your concern or your frustration, he's more likely to receive it. So you start off, yes, that must have been frustrating. Oh my God, what happened? I can't believe this happened. And the teacher didn't listen. Yes, all that. And then there's going to be a point in time where you see him relax, where he stops talking, meaning you've disarmed him. Then now you can come in for the kill. Right? Then you can come in and say, maybe can I talk to you about something that I've been thinking about for a while? You seem to have this pattern that happens a lot. And at the end of the day, it's always about somebody else's frustrations. Can you talk about that? Right? Disarm him first, and then you're going to have a greater chance of getting in. Okay? Try that. Inshallah.
Opposite to that person, if you have a child who doesn't want to communicate, like you can see he is upset and he's having a bad day, but when I approach him, what happened? Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? No, I don't want to talk about it. Just want to be in my room, be alone. So how do we approach this kind of behavior so they can share their problem with us?
Sure. First, it comes from respecting their boundary. Okay? When someone is telling you no, you try to force it, nothing good is going to come out of it. So you say, okay, I understand you want to be alone. Okay, I'll give you about 2 hours, and then I'm going to come in and check in and see how you're doing. Then you kind of come back and try to engage. Okay? Inshallah.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Make sure they don't have a device in their room.
Yeah.
They'll never come out.
Sure.
So if you want your time alone, stay in the room.
Sure.
Right, no devices with you.
Sure.
And then they'll go back out to school and then probably see because they have nothing else to do.
Inshallah.
That's something that we're
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan, Doctor. So if you have any further questions, sorry, you have a couple of minutes, maybe. Inshallah. If you don't, but we're gonna have to close the session for now. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. for your patience. I love the part about probing. Dr. Isra probes us when we ask questions. She keeps asking follow-up questions to really get to know. That's amazing, mashallah. So may Allah grant us those to master the verbal and non-verbal skills in our communication. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Inshallah, do not forget Friday, this Friday, next coffee with the principal, inshallah. We'll see you then. Jazakumullah khairan with the next Tarbiyah program, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.